Welcome to Cosmic Gaia, starring global alchemist and intuitive astrologer Laura Eisenhower. Her brand new show on Sci-Spi.tv kicks off with an extraordinary series featuring her spiritual journey in the magical, mystical Red Rocks of Sedona, Arizona. Enjoy.
Well, this area and location is really powerful. I, in early research, discovered that a lot of these canyon peaks form stars. And Mark and I were talking about the stars, pentagram and the six-pointed star, that this land holds. And a lot of areas around the planet hold this as well, but not both in one area. And when we look at the pentagram, it's very significant right now because we're moving out of a lot of reversals, particularly the electromagnetic flow of energy of Earth grids, and certain locations on the planet have been put in reversal codes so that we as a humanity aren't able to pick up on these energies and have that circulation in our body, which leads to obviously physical symptoms, because any kind of energy block is going to bring about physical symptoms. And so if the circulation is disrupted, if it's put in reversals, or if there's any sort of energy block or unplugging of these grid lines, we're born into it, and through osmosis we pick this up in our physical bodies. And on top of that, we experience a lot of the societal programs and a lot of the frequency modulations and this or that. So this natural landscape and the land here helps to bring that energy flow back, and it's so much stronger than any sort of dark technology or any level of manipulation. If we're holding a strong level of awareness and we're holding that intent for our physical body to receive through the earth and also cosmic energies, which mixes in our chakras. And so the significance of the star, the five-pointed star, the pentagram, is the fifth element, the ether, and the water fire elemental mixture of that, which is coming strongly into the planet. And the astrological alignments right now is really showing that we are in this window period where that energy circulation is more available to us than it has been for many, many cycles of history, 26,000 years or so. That's why in the interview with Mark, I kept saying, oh yeah, you've been leading for 26,000 years here. I mean, 26 years. Because he's been a tour guide for 26 years. Because that number is so significant as far as when things began to be really thrown off. And so when we look at pyramids, when we look at different structures around the world and the locations that they're put, it's to connect with different star systems. And the pyramid technologies went offline when certain cataclysms took place in our ancient history. But the significance of here is that these are all natural monuments, and the energy flow of the land has a lot to do with the six-pointed star, which relates to sacred union and the balancing of the masculine and feminine, and the connection of the electric and magnetic. So the magnetic will connect us to the mother, connect us to the earth in a magnetic way. The electric connects us to the male, but it's not gender when it's energetic. So it has to do with the energy field around our bodies. It has to do with the way our energy meridians work, because we're a replica of the earth grids. Our DNA is, and our chakras are connected to the multidimensional cosmos. So with these alignments happening where this restoration is taking place, it's even more significant to be in these, power centers, because they already hold this, natural flow of energy. And now that it's flowing a lot more in our awareness because of all the different things that we've gone through over the course of time and these corrections that have taken place, and also the planetary body being in alignment with the galactic core of both Andromeda and Milky Way, we're able to open up to our galactic chakras. And the presence of ether now is purifying earth, air, fire, water. And in doing that, we're able to bring together the balance of the masculine and feminine within our own nature. And as the two kind of work simultaneously, this purification of the elements, which is also connected to the nucleic acids in our DNA, are helping to rebuild the strands that have been, kind of pulled apart, which is similar to what happened with the earth grids around the areas of Glastonbury and Stonehenge. Dark technologies were put in place to unplug the Cathar and Albion bodies, which are the masculine and feminine. So this is a really powerful place to sort of rebuild the awareness of a divine architecture and blueprint that already exists. And so because it's imprinted in the land, we are receivers and conduits, and also the energy flow that we give to the earth also helps with those corrections and with the neutralization of some of this weaponry. And so a lot of the alignments, particularly right now, has to do with this balance, because here we are with the new moon in Libra, the sun is in Libra, Mercury and Venus are in Libra, and that has to do with, the balance of the masculine and feminine. And now with the ether available, with the sun moving through the 13th sign of Fiacus, which is the only zodiac sign ruled by the ether, the energetic circulation is not only clearing our own inner elementals, but this, balancing of the masculine and feminine is even stronger, because the contamination and toxicity that has created this imbalance of like negative ego and dominance over the inner feminine that has been somewhat pushed down and kept in exile is now returning to the surface again. And so when we look at the alchemy, the lead turning into gold, going into the underworld and back out again, whatever energy blocks that have kept pieces of ourselves in the underworlds are now being collected and integrated to come up to the surface, to be standing in, wholeness. And so one of the most significant things that is coming up is the fact that the planet Pluto is very close to the planet Saturn, and in January 2020 they're going to be connected to each other. And Jupiter's moving into Scorpio. And so regardless of what's playing out on the world stage and all the craziness with how they're trying to infect our creative energies with fear or doom and gloom or anything, about, what could potentially happen to our world, it's us keeping our energy centers clear and the flow of creative energy clear and in connection to Earth and cosmos that will offset it as an override frequency, because the timeline shifted in 2010 to the planetary consciousness of the mother. And all the guardian hosts that are connected with that are able to come back in. And nothing can stop it except for how our minds can be diverted and distracted away. So holding space for this energy flow to take place is actually turning the lower levels of Saturn, which represent the energy blocks, the frequency fences, the quarantine that we've been under, and how that's impacted our physical health and the imbalances of our society and the power struggles between different polarities, masculine and feminine, and even dark and light. This integration of polarity is taking place, and Saturn is blowing my hat off. And so what's incredible is the higher levels of Saturn are teacher master. So it's through overcoming these obstacles, through recognizing that these things that want to actually stop us are things that we can, choose to overcome, like an athlete would choose to conquer any obstacle put in its way. And that's the energy of the warrior. And the rainbow levels of our chakra system, when we go into the underworlds and purify them, and they start to activate as the true color, we begin to download galactic chakra energies, and it changes the frequency of our lower chakras, and that integration of higher and lower become one. And so this is a window period that has been prophesized for thousands of years, particularly the Mayans that understood the Venus transits, which form a perfect pentagram in the sky. And a location like this is one of the first receivers of these activations that then bring about the sacred union of the six-pointed star, which this land holds, and why this has been such a sort of popular place and a sought-after place, and also a targeted area. But because we are a replica of the cosmos and Gaia, and it's up to our energy body and the choices we make to keep that energy body clear, that we're able to conquer it, because we win the war within ourselves. This is a war on consciousness. And if we can understand that the lower level of Saturn are these programmings and are these assaults to throw our minds into a different trajectory, we can see those as the forces that we're overcoming. And as Pluto comes in to alchemize the lead of Saturn and turn it into gold, we are part of that creative force of the planet to drive that timeline forward and to usher as many souls as possible by sharing these activations and sharing these frequencies, not through having to force it upon people, but through our words, through the voice print that we hold, through loving intention and compassion and patience. We're able to transfer this energy, which helps them to disconnect from the AI or any sort of intrusion that's coming from Saturn Moon Matrix manipulations that really seek to keep that imbalance alive. We might see it from the level of, it's patriarchal, but when we look at it, it's the imbalance of the electric magnetic, the masculine and feminine, the where invading forces can leverage that imbalance. And so this is a really powerful time to reset with all this Libra energy, and this prepares us for what's to come as Pluto takes us down into the underworlds for probably the last major round, which is the dark night of the soul, to come up and conquer the energies of Saturn and recognize that it's all about self-mastery. The true goal of the Tree of Knowledge was self-knowledge, but it got externalized and targeted with mind control. And so we've externalized everything, spirituality, our medical conditions, everything that we're meant to understand from within, we've looked outside of ourselves. And so the more we work with the earth energies and the cosmic energies, knowing that this ascension is a cosmic and earthly event, but a personal initiation to open up the rest of ourselves by allowing Saturn not to block us, but to help us work with the law of structure, where we choose with our free will choices to honor the physical body and utilize it as a powerful vessel and container for the multidimensions to exist in. Whereas the lower level of Saturn wants to cut us off. So we can't get rid of Saturn, but we can overcome the obstacles. And this is the most powerful time right now to engage in this transformation into the illumination of our divine blueprint. And that alchemy clears the inner elements, and the earth has no choice but to respond. And that's how we move into higher earth energies. It's the inner clearing of our inner elementals that shifts our DNA, brings things back into balance, completes the alchemy, and we have no choice but to notice a world that reflects that. And the more of us that do it, the better. Because right now we're witnessing a lot of other timelines and a lot of other things that really don't mean that that's where we're headed. Our role is to just be able to spread the vibration and inspire people to recognize that there is no lower force that can take us down unless we choose to plug into it and be a food source and buy into the program. And so I just hold the intention for all of us today to break those cords, to snap those cords, to dissolve any connection we have to the false matrix energies, and to really breathe into what's organic and what's real. And I can't imagine a more powerful time to manifest a group in a location such as this, to utilize this alchemy that's present, because it's correcting the earth grid reversal codes that were put in place, and those days are over. The only thing we need to watch out for is where the distractions and the false flag events and all these different things that capture our minds to infect our creative energies. That's the only thing that we could lose ourselves to. In worst case scenario, it just drains us and gives us a headache, and then we can sort of reset and recognize that that is not the truth. Enough people are on board. We're seeing this collectively, and just really holding the intention that what we bring from here ripples out to friends, loved ones, and the earth energies that exist beneath us. And so everybody's going to experience the land and the cosmic energies in a different way, depending on what their body needs the most. And I just want to kind of end there, and we can open it up to the group, but I want to hand it over to Mark.
I just wanted to catch you on that. Jupiter is going to be in Capricorn.
Yeah, Jupiter in Capricorn. So it's moving from Jupiter in Scorpio, because the sun's going to be moving into Scorpio. It's really amping up these alchemical energies. And then when it starts to align with Capricorn in Pluto in Capricorn and Saturn in Capricorn, it's going to really show that the higher self, which Jupiter is all about expansion and higher self, it's just going to really amplify the fact that Saturn is in touch with the higher mind. Right now, Jupiter's taking us through that alchemical process of being able to, connect fully and completely, so that when we face this heavy lead quality of Saturn, we're guiding it through the higher mind principles instead of the net that we can be captured in, like we have been sort of struggling with. So yes, Jupiter's moving into Capricorn, and next year it's going to really show that. But there's going to be some things playing out on the world stage, which you were mentioning earlier, that happened in 2008. I don't know if you want to share some of that.
Well, also, Jupiter is going to be doing an aspect with Uranus in Taurus.
And that's really powerful.
That's very expansive as well, with insights from the cosmos, universal intelligence mixed in with Jupiter's seeking of truth. It seems like as we enter, it's going to be starting in December, but as we enter next year, it, in a way, will be providing think about the pathway out of that density, that combination. It'll be affecting humanity's consciousness to come up with ways in which to resolve the difficulties that are hitting our way.
And Uranus is so powerful. Uranus doesn't care about comfort at all. When an activation comes through, it's so powerful that it can create nervous breakdowns. It can make people feel like they're going crazy, but it's a really good sign. The thing is, society takes advantage of these initiations that we organically go through and like to sort of grab us in the midst of it and project that, something's seriously wrong with us, or maybe we're depressed, maybe we are going crazy. But Jupiter linked with Uranus turns the volume up of that electrical energy, and that frequency is so high that it's like a tuning fork of the higher intelligence of the universal mind matrix of the universe. And people will be going through a lot of crisis for them to get into alignment. And the biggest trap is hearing an opinion from a source that wants to leverage it against you, versus those that can help one to integrate these high frequency energies that really show that the higher mind is in charge and is guiding the Saturn energies out of the limitation and modification of our DNA. It's like completely different now. Yeah.
Yeah, the last time Jupiter joined Pluto in Capricorn was 2008. If you want to have a reflection of that, adding Saturn to the mix, adding the lunar node, the southern lunar node, the karmic lunar node, all that's going to be, close together in proximity, 10,
Holy
15
cow.
degrees apart.
Wow.
Yeah, the south node. What's that?
I said, holy cow.
Yeah, so the south node in Capricorn.
Holy cow.
Well, the beauty of the south node being in Capricorn is anywhere that we have bought into the control matrix that has to do with thousands of years of our history and our past, because the south node represents the past. We're cutting the cords that hold us to these ancestral patterns and this looping on the the time loop. And so as we break through that, we're entering the north node, which is Cancer, which is the mother. And so those polarities of father, mother, the false king of tyranny and the patriarchal energies are being dismantled. And as we focus on the mother energy, it's taking us right into the Christ consciousness and the true balance of the masculine and feminine. That's why I always like to look at it, Ascension is a love story. It's like we're divorcing the imposter and the falsities, and we're embracing the authentic, true love story of creation, which is actually encoded in our DNA.
Wow.
Snaps.
Destructive creativity.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be.
Destructive creativity?
Yeah, to get
Ooh, I like that.
Mark, can you speak to the pentagram imprinted upon the Sedona landscape that Nicholas Mann wrote about?
Yeah, this particular book called Sacred Earth, the author was a geomancer from England, and he spent 8 years in the Southwest, and he studied the topography of this area, and he determined 5 points that created the pentagram star, which would be on this side of Sedona, going towards actually Cathedral Rock and Courthouse Rock near Bell Rock are 2 points on that. Airport Vortex is one of them. And then West Sedona is the hexagram, 6 points. And he, in his book, he shows that they contact at Airport Vortex. And as long as I've been here, even before I moved here, Airport Vortex was a place where you intuitively went to do your intention work, your manifesting work, because you need to kind of have that masculine and feminine energy, the earth and the heavens, all those things in alignment for, in a sense, the more expedient response from the universal field, because then your field is more open and clear. If it's just imbalanced with one modality or one of those vibrational influences, it won't occur as quickly. And there's a history of that back in the days before cell phones, where people would do their intentions, rituals at the Airport Vortex, and when they got back to their house, the answer was on the voicemail. That happened a lot.
Whoa.
So you have a blueprint of that activity, and really in many of these locations in Sedona, there's blueprints of the previous activities of the people that have consciously set their own field onto the land intentionally. This happens to be a pure spot because only the local neighborhood knows about it. And this other place we're going to is not on the map. It's near a popular area, but the specific area isn't known to many people. And I prefer doing that just because of the high volume of tourism that has occurred here. And when you live here, there's times when it's very busy where you feel like you're going through a swamp, and the locals will say that. So that combination of the hexagram and pentagram, it's just simply the earth and the heavens, and of course the use of magic involves those symbols amongst the many other symbols. So it's all valid. It could be misused or used for white magic, if you will, or pure clear magic. Doesn't matter. It's your understanding that you're working with the invisible field, which is, I think, it's beneficial, because eventually you're going to evolve out of manipulation and personal satisfaction of magic, and just do something clear of alchemy within yourself. But knowing how to play around with this stuff is very helpful and important, as opposed to being, I'll use the word, a victim type consciousness that you have to constantly pray for something to happen. It's like, no, if you really believe really understand your source, then you begin practicing ways in which you could bring that in kind of contain and embody it and know it. And then from that perspective, you're, in a sense, the manifestations are meeting the minimum needs of all aspects of your life to be fulfilled in the here and now, not a desire or a want. And that's what you start questioning when you're trying to bring something forward. Is it a desire, a want, or a minimum need? The minimum need could be a nice house, a nice car. It's just a minimum need. But a desire and a want are distinctively different. And the vibrational influences of Source would obviously come in with the minimum need. A want and a desire, your soul may say, no, that's going to cause you to go down the wrong path. Or you're going to create too much karma if you pursue that want or desire. So always kind of keep yourself in check when you're interacting with the land here, with what you're feeling, the focus, the intention. You go out into sacred areas and be. But this type of experience, with all the information that's being provided, the real and pure purpose is to just find that the quiet and stillness within yourself. See what it's like. Let that grow. So at this point, maybe give ourselves 5 to 10 minutes. Wander. Set a pure intention.